Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar today. My name is Francisco Morris, and I will be showing you some uh, some basics about how to integrate OneStream with SAP. Okay. The way we are going to conduct this webinar is that if you have any question, please type them in the chat box, and then at the end of the webinar, we will go through them. Okay. Um, so let's start with the introductions about myself. Okay. Um, I guess that some of you may know me from the EPM world, but I live in Malaga in the south of Spain. Um, I've been already working with EPM like about 12 years, mainly with integration solutions. I'm father of a large family, so I have like one of almost 4 year and then twins, which are killing me. And right now, my role at Illumi is the domain lead for master data management and data integration. So what about Illumi? So we are OneStream Silver partner, and we provide all the services end to end. Okay, so we are basically like a consulting firm providing the end-to-end EPM services. Starting with advisory, we'll help you to select the software by choosing the right methodology based on the requirements you may have. Then, of course, we take the implementation just to make your life easier. And the goal is to implement the most suitable solution for you. Okay, so we take care about the knowledge transfer because that's like the key of any implementation, right? Any project, so that we don't focus on implementing only, but also on transferring the knowledge so you can take the ownership of your solution. And then, of course, we have like operations where we provide you the services to maintain and support your daily business, like managed services. We do hosting, 24/7 support. So this is basically like the branch of services Illumi provides. Where are we? So even if you can see Europe, okay, we provide services across the world. So we have offices in the main cities, as you can see, the Nordics, also UK, Spain, of course, here, where we have like the best weather that you can imagine. And and we also have some services we used to have in the US, although we do support there, and also like in Australia. So what are we going to talk about today? You can see here the agenda. I will be introducing the data integration in OneStream. Okay. We'll be also listing the main benefits of having direct integrations between OneStream and any source system. And as of course, as the title of this webinar says, we will be focusing on the SAP integration. And I will show you an example to have like a round trip from SAP to OneStream. So load data from SAP into OneStream and then navigate back from OneStream to SAP to see the details. Okay, and as I said before, any question, just please feel free to type them in the chat, and we'll go through that after the topic. So let's start. Staging your data at a glance. So as you can, as you may know, OneStream is like a one-stop shop, okay, where we have like different engines. So everything is in one product. It can be deployed in the cloud. It can be deployed on premise. And if we think about an application, we have like the financial model where we define all our rules, consolidation, planning, forecasting. It depends on what we want our application for. And then we have something called stage. Okay, so stage is basically the data integration engine for OneStream. Um, the main goal of the stage is to ensure that your data quality to get your data from the source, from any source, and put that into your application so you have the right data for your financial models. So OneStream can connect to any source. It doesn't matter if it's on-prem, if it's cloud. So OneStream can connect. The limitation mainly come from the source APIs. Okay, so if we have like a source system that only allows connection through the relational database layer, then we will be only able to connect through the relational database layer. But it doesn't mean that OneStream could connect through, for example, web services. So if the source system provides web services, with OneStream we can connect to that web service to extract data, for example. And that is thanks to the scripting engine, which is very powerful in OneStream, and it works the same in the cloud and on-prem. Okay, so if we want to have like a hybrid integration, being hybrid, so having OneStream in the cloud and then extract data from on-prem systems, for example, the only thing we need is actually to set up in our OneStream platform the VPN tunneling to get access to that system. Okay, so but we don't lose any functionality because of being OneStream cloud or OneStream on-prem, of course. So how this works? So basically, we are gonna pull data from our source, and then we have our like a guided workflow. Okay, so we import the data, we transform the data, then we run some validations, and finally we load data into our financial model. Okay, so into our like application core engine. Um, Typically, the data we want to load is like aggregated data. Why? Because we don't, unless it's necessary because of requirements, we don't really need all the data at like lowest detail data in the model. Why? Because as I will show you later, we can always like jump back from OneStream to the source to see the details without leaving OneStream, which is very good. So I'll show you later how OneStream provides a multi-level and drill back capability. So once the data is in our financial model, okay, so in the cube, basically we process the data, we confirm that the data is okay, and we certify that that data is like complying with all our requirements. So the data is in the model, and it's ready for further analysis. Okay, so even within OneStream, or if you have like any external BI solution, you can also connect to the OneStream model to get the data and see like or perform any analysis you need. So what about the other direction process? So we want now to jump from our aggregated data, okay, into our transactional data in the system. So this is if when we are like in the model, okay, so we can drill down from like a form or like a dashboard. We can drill down into our data in the stage, okay, and then from our data in the stage we can jump back or we can drill back to our source data. As I said, you don't need to leave OneStream, okay? And I'll show you a couple of examples later. The drill back is a built-in functionality in OneStream. Okay, so here you have the main capabilities of OneStream. As I said, we can connect to any on-prem or cloud system, like from M3 Info Cloud, Unifor to Dynamics, SAP, of course, relational databases, like doesn't matter if it's like a MySQL, like Oracle SQL Server, DB2, HANA that I will show you later. And we have like two directional integration, so to pull data from the source. And as I said, you can also push data to the source. So this is what we typically call a write back. Okay, so writing back your data from OneStream into your external system. So let's say you want to write back into your ERP system some of the adjustments or your consolidated data that you perform in OneStream, you can do also. There are many ways, but if we want to group the different ways of integrating with source systems, I would say that we have like database integration, and this is when we want to extract data from tables or views. The application integration, and this is when we use source system APIs, or we can also use pre-built connectors in OneStream, like for example, the SAP one. And finally, we can also extract data through the web services or middleware layer. Okay, so we can use like SOAP web services, REST, we can call REST APIs. We can also use REST to consume OData services. Okay, so each of this approach, of course, has some pros and cons, and it's not like ABC. You need to analyze, you need to evaluate the requirements in order to choose the right one for your solution. So what about the benefits of having a direct integration with your source system? So as you for sure you know that there are like hard times, especially like end of month, when you are performing like a lot of processes, not only the data integration. Of course, data integration is one of the key ones because it's bringing the right data to your solution, to your model, but there are other processes. So the simple, the more simple your integration is in terms of maintaining and executing your processes, of course, the faster and more reliable your EPM processes will be. Okay, so at the end, what you get when you have a direct integration is, of course, you eliminate manual interaction with the systems. So you don't really depend on someone going to the source, running any process, or extracting files, or waiting for someone to send you an email with the files. Because you have a direct integration, and then you have like drill back capabilities, you can also reduce the amount of data to aggregate it, which means like less time to import the data and smaller volumes without losing the detail you need. Okay, and also, of course, you get what I call like on-demand extraction. So you get real-time data. It's not like you are getting a file, let's say Friday evening, and you get that file on Monday. Okay, you process the file on Monday, Saturday and Sunday. There have been some adjustments, journals, whatever, in the source system. You don't get that data in the file. But if you have like a direct integration where I can say, okay, I want to extract data now, the real-time data will come. Even if you have a cloud solution as a source, okay, sometimes when you are extracting like big volumes of data, you don't go to the cloud directly. You use what some solutions they call like a replica database, or like in, for example, Microsoft Dynamics, like BYOD database, which is basically like almost real time, because it's like 2-3 seconds real time parallel database in the cloud where you can extract data without impacting on the other processes running in the cloud. Okay, and that's also like possible with like the direct integration as well. Of course, data quality and audit and reconciliation. If you have a direct integration and you avoid manual interaction, that means that probably the users won't be able to change the data after it has been extracted. So that means like you can reconcile in a better way. So we all know that sometimes we say, okay, this number where it's coming is not in the source. What happened? Someone just changed the file in Excel or a flat file or whatever, but then it's very hard to trace back your data. So if we now highlight the benefits in terms of ownership, okay, in OneStream, that the connector is within OneStream. So even this is like a one-time build. Okay, so you build the connector and then it can be maintained by the users or by administrators. So that means like they if they have to add like a new column, for example, to extracting data from a table, that can be easily done. Okay. So the hard, let's say like the hard part of the implementation or the most time consuming is just at the beginning. It's like one-time build when you gather the requirements, design the connector, and implement that. Then like this kind of maintenance can be easily done by administrators or end users, as I said. Also, it's possible to define extract parameters. Okay, so if I want to filter data by company, for example, in SAP, I can easily own that parameter, and I don't have to implement anything in the source to filter. I can define the filters on my OneStream solution. Of course, I define my transformation rules. Okay, so the mappings that I want to perform. To me, always depending on the solution, is not a good practice to define mappings in the source, because then you lose the audit. Okay, so one of the best capability of the stage in OneStream is the flexibility of defining transformation rules to convert my source data into the target. And then, as I said, even if you have like a connector that's like a one-time build, so this is like transparent for admins and end users. Okay, so it's not like they have to maintain scripting. So that's like a one-time build. So let's see like an overview now for the SAP integration. Okay, we already saw like the main features of Stage in OneStream, so of the data integration engine, and what OneStream can do in terms of integrating with the source systems. And now let's discuss about SAP. So as I said, we can connect to anything. So it doesn't matter which SAP distribution or module we want to connect, that we can extract data from that. So if you have like all R3 or ECC, or maybe you are now in the new SAP S/4HANA, or you just have like a BW for HANA, so that's possible. That is like a valid source for OneStream. And actually, it's like a elegant solution to integrate with source systems, because we can use like web services, or we can use like the, let's say like the bundled connector that OneStream has. Okay, so there is like a SAP connector delivered with any OneStream solution. It's not like an extra license, it's just bundled. Okay, this has been implemented by a partner, SAP partner called Ubald. Okay, and the library is basically called like ERP Connect. If you want to find some details about that, because the documentation is very complete, and it will show you what you can do with the library. And as I said, another way of integrating with SAP and with any other source system, if they provide that capability, is to use web services. Okay, so the scripting engine in OneStream is visualbasic.net. Okay, so we have like native classes to call web services. Actually, if you know like Visual Basic, you can easily, from a web service definition, you can easily create the code that you need to consume that web service. Finally, if you want to extract data from the relational database layer, which is more and more common nowadays with the HANA solution. So the HANA, if you don't know, is like the in-memory database for SAP. Okay, and if we see like the roadmap of SAP, let's say ERP, so they started with R3, they then continued with ECC, and then they had something called Simple Finance, which is basically being rebranded or renamed to SAP S4HANA, and then also BW for HANA. Okay, so you can have ECC running on HANA, for example, if you want. So HANA is just the database. And if you want to extract data from the database layer, you can use the ODBC driver for SAP HANA. And I will show you how easy it is to set up that driver in the next slides. Before we continue with the ECC extract that I will show later, I like to show you like very high level solution for something that is now very commonly demanded. So when you have like S4HANA, as I said, like not everyone wants to extract data from the relational database, okay, because of security reasons, or they want to enrich the data. So there is a concept called core data services in HANA. It's basically for that. It's just to enrich the data. So it's like a way of, let's say, programming views in HANA, okay, with ABAP code. When we want to extract data from that object, so from a CDS view, basically one of the simplest solutions is to expose that CDS view as a OData service. OData is like a protocol. At the end, it's like a REST service. Okay, if they follow like of course, like the REST approach. And you can consume then that OData service from a connector business rule in Stage. Okay, so when you define your connector, this is actually like the code to perform the connection, the extract, the drill back from and to the source system. And actually, if you're familiar with Microsoft Dynamics 365, this is a similar approach. So OData is used across all Microsoft products. So you can use OData service in Dynamics 365, and then you can just consume that with OneStream. There are some limitations, and actually, what I know that OneStream is working very hard and close to Microsoft to provide everything that you may need for your extract. So I think like there will be more and more let's say extra capabilities for Microsoft Dynamics 365 in the coming months. Okay, so we've been like talking about one-time build, and this is very important because if you see like the life cycle for an SAP integration, or this can be applied to any other integration. If we, let's say, define the process in 3 steps, the one-time build step is where we, of course, perform the let's say like the implementation of our integration solution. We need some SAP preparation that I'll show you later. It's where we define like the business rule. And by the way, OneStream provides some business rule templates that you can reuse and change for your source system. And then once the solution is built, okay, it's just time to deliver that solution to the business user, administrators, so they can own it. And that means like they will be responsible of defining the transformations, parameterize the workflow if needed, performing like any drill back, even like changing the connector if needed, and they have like that capability. And then, of course, as any other integration, we all know that it's not like a closed door. Okay, so it always opens with new requirements. Okay, so it's like the application administrator is the one that can evaluate the requirements from the business user, and maybe some business rules can be reused. Okay, so this is like the life cycle of integration and how we can simplify that with a one-time build. Okay, so SAP HANA. As I said, SAP HANA is just the underlying database. You can have S for, so like, let's say ECC, and then the underlying database can be HANA, or can be like DB2 or Oracle or any other database, any other database supported by SAP. But if we want to extract data from the relational database HANA, okay, then the configuration in OneStream is similar to if we extract data from SQL Server, from MySQL, Oracle, any other database, because we can use the HANA ODBC driver to set up our connection. Okay, so in OneStream we have a section for configuring the connection to source systems. Okay, so to other databases, and here is where we put like the connections details. We can just connect to multiple source systems if we need. Okay, and then typically when you connect to a relational database in OneStream, you perform a test using a dashboard, and you can create like a data adapter and assign to the dashboard. And then you can execute like a simple query to say, okay, the connection is working fine. As simple as you can see. So we also saw like the other approach is to use the bundle connector for SAP. Okay. This is at the end like a .NET library that you can import into your business rule. And the good thing is that it supports like RFC and SOAP protocols as well. But I would be using this for RFC, so remote function call approach only. And if you want to use like web services, then probably I would recommend to use the native .NET HTTP classes to consume web services. The good thing of the connector is if it's like application layer independent. So sorry, database independent. So it doesn't matter which is your database. If it's like HANA, SQL Server, whatever, it doesn't matter because it goes through the application layer. And it has a lot of flexibility in the things you can do. So for example, if you're connecting to Business Warehouse, you can run like BX queries, which are very flexible. Or you can read data from standard tables, custom tables. If you have like a query defined in SAP, you can execute that query. Or if you have an existing RFC in SAP, you can also call that RFC. So it's like a common scenario that you go to customer and you say, okay, what do you want to extract data? And they say, we want to extract the same thing that this program is doing. well, if the program is performing well, why don't we reuse that program? So you can call that program from with the library as well. I wanted to show you the main steps of configuring the connector. So you can see like it's not difficult. So basically, from technical standpoint, you just need to make sure that, of course, you can reach the SAP system. Okay, and this can be done by doing like a simple telnet. Again, if you are in OneStream Cloud, you will have to, OneStream will open some VPN tunneling so you can reach the system. If you are like on-prem, then you probably have to work with your network team to make sure that this connection works. And then to use the adapter, um, um, there is like one function, so that we have the code, so you can easily like, okay, this is the function you need to create, and you can give that to the SAP administrator. And this function is basically to work around some limitations on standard functions from SAP, okay, to extract data. So it's just 1 minute to create. Okay? So I'm not an SAP super expert, and it took me like 1-2 minutes to create. It's very well documented also in the Oval site for the ERP Connect library. Once we have the technical configuration done, we need to register our SAP connection. Okay, in the same way we did for HANA database, we do here. Okay, so basically this is where we define our connection string. The only thing is that the database provider type is SAP, and that's what you need to set up, and don't forget to flag that as an external database, because it's not like a OneStream database, it's an external system. Okay. Once we have defined the connection to the source system, this is where we start defining. Of course, before this, we had some solution design, but once the solution has been designed, is we have to create let's say the core object for the connector, which is basically the business rule. Okay, so we have like a connector business rule. So when we want to extract data, OneStream is going to execute this business rule, and then it's going to connect to the system. So there are different methods that you need to define in a connector business rule, not only for SAP, but for other source systems. Of course, like get the connection, which is like going into the connection configuration we define in the last step, and then get the details from there. Get the fields, that's basically what fields or what information we want to extract from the source. Get the data. This is like the method or methods to extract the data from the source. And then like the drill back. Okay, so how you define the drill back options for your connector. So here you can easily you can see how easily we can just add a filter to reading data from a table. This is an SAP table, but we are not reading data through the application layer. Okay, this is very important. We are reading data through the we are not reading data through the database layer. We are reading data through the application layer. Okay, and this is how you can write your connector rule to get the data from the SAP table and filter. And once I have my connector rule, we have to assign that connector rule to a workflow input profile. So so we can have different rules. Maybe one profile, one company is just connecting to one SAP instance. Another one is just connecting to another SAP instance. So we have a lot of flexibility here. This is basically like how we map our connector fields to also like our dimensions in OneStream. Cool. So I just show you the basic steps of configuring a connector for SAP. is the same process or similar process to other sources. So this is why I wanted to show you like the main steps. But there is a discussion that always happen when we do like integration, especially with SAP. I told you that we have two methods besides, of course, the database layer, which is like RFC, so remote function call, and web services. And typically is which one is best? The answer is it's not like A or B. You need to have some discussions with different teams. You need to evaluate different requirements because, for example, you can say, okay, I would like to have web service because it's more secured, but you have like a big volume of data to extract. And big volumes, it depends on how the web service is implemented. It's not like a good approach when you have like big volumes of data. Or they maybe say our network policy is only to use web service. We don't let you to connect through RFC. We just expose everything as a web service or security. So there are many different discussions that need to be taken into account before going for one method or the other one. What I can say, and this is of course like a personal opinion, but is what we see is that because of the cloud, let's say cloud world or hybrid world, we are moving more and more to the direction of using like web services everywhere. Okay, so choosing web service approach maybe is like a preparation in case like the source system for example moves to the cloud as well. Okay, so it can be like a challenging time to decide if which approach, but you need to, okay, and you need to take into account different questions as I'm showing you here. Okay, so let's see an example for an SAP integration where I will show you like a round trip, which means I'm going to get data from SAP and I'm going to drill back into SAP from my model. So you can see the different functionality that we have in OneStream. In this example, I'm going to load profit center balances. Okay, so this is like they are loaded into a system table. So they are stored in an SAP system table called GLPCT. And then, of course, I want to drill back to see the line item details, so like the details, okay, and they are stored in a table called GLPCA. How we do this? We follow the stage or the OneStream integration workflow, okay? We import the data, we convert the data, we validate our data, we load into our OneStream cube or our financial model, and then we drill back to the source. All this without leaving OneStream. So the import, we have our data in SAP. This is like a data browser transaction in SAP where we can see the different data we have. And then what we are going to do is from OneStream, from a stage, okay, we are going to click import, and that's going to bring the data depending on how I configured my connector, okay, so which dimension, which fields I'm selecting, but I'm going to bring that data. I'm going to pull that data from the source. One of the good things of OneStream, I'm not showing here, but you can extract data from multiple sources, and that data can be merged. Okay, so that's really cool for the same profile. So what I get is like the source intersection, so the source data. And once I have the data, what I want, so during that step, the data is converted. So the next step is to validate. And the validate is going to perform two validations. The first one is like all my transformations are complete, which means like, for example, all the counts are converted. So I get all the target intersections. And then after this validation happens, we have the intersection validations. Why? Because we need to make sure that our target data is valid So the combinations we have, for example, for different user-defined dimensions or an accounts or intercompany an entity, they are valid. Okay. So this happens in the validate step. So once my data has been validated, I perform the load. The load is going to load data into the cube. Okay, so into my target cube. If I'm like, I have like a cube for consolidation, then, and I'm this data is sort of consolidating, then that will be my target cube. Okay. And as I said, once the data is in the cube, you can perform further analysis from OneStream or using like external tools. You can do that. Okay. So once I have my target data, I show you in one of the first slides that we perform a drill down. Okay, we can perform a drill down from different places within a stage, from dashboards, from reports. What I'm going to show you here is just within the stage. Okay, so basically we have like our target intersection, and we will be drilling down, and I can see which are like the source intersections, so the source data that are is being used to calculate that target line. Okay, so I have a good audit, and I can see, okay, these are like my source, this is my source data, and this is like my target intersection. But then I say, okay, for this source data, this number here, I want to see more details, okay? But I didn't extract the details. However, I can see the details without leaving OneStream, okay? And that's done with the drill back functionality. So in this case, I have defined my drill back, and drill back is very flexible. As I told you before, one of the steps to set up like the connector is also to define the functions or the options you want to use for drill back. In this case, I'm just showing two options. I will drill back using a grid in OneStream, okay? And also, I'm going to show you how to drill back into the SAP web portal. The first one, okay, is the most common. The second one, it depends on your source. So if the source system provides like, let's say, landing page capability, including filtering, then you can use. And this is something you can use. You can do with SAP portal, for example, for ECC, okay, which is my source here. My source in this example is SAP ECC, which is the most common ERP for SAP. So I'm going to jump, okay, and this is like the data I have in the data I have in SAP, okay, in the bottom for this line that I extracted. So the top line, okay, is the line we extracted from the profit center total balances, and the bottom lines, the drill back details, they are the this is the data that is stored in SAP line items table for profit center. Okay, so without leaving OneStream, I'm able to see the SAP store, the SAP data. Okay, this data, the data in the bottom grid, is not stored in OneStream. It's just in SAP. I can drill back to that. Okay, so this is just to show you that basically the data we have here on the bottom. So this is like a data browser, a transaction that I can use to see the data in the GLPCA table is the same data that OneStream is showing, exactly the same one. You can define the different fields or columns you want to show in the drill back. Okay, so that's part that is part of the drill back configuration. Okay, so let's see the second option that I configured. Let's say now the SAP GUI or the URL drill back. Okay, we can have multiple drill backs here. Okay, so if you want to have access to different tables or transactions, you can have that if you want. To simplify, I wanted to show you only two. So again, I do the same process. I jump from this line into the SAP portal. Okay, so this is the landing page that I have to SAP. In case you don't ask, I'll tell you that this is not like the first landing page. It's like the credentials, and you need to type them only once. Okay. So when you drill back the first time, you enter your credentials, SAP credentials, and then the session is open. So when you execute again and drill back from, for example, a different point of view, then you get access to the page immediately. Okay, so now that I'm in SAP, so this is like a OneStream. What you see is like a OneStream, let's say grid. Okay, but on the bottom, so at the bottom, instead of having like the data grid data, the data grid with SAP data, we have like the web portal. And then from here, okay, without leaving OneStream, I can, for example, open actual line items report. Okay, so from within OneStream, I can just open a report for SAP for this figure. Okay, and this is just opening the report where you can see the same data that we were seeing in our data grid, but now with SAP portal. As I said, the drill down can be. I was showing drill down from a stage, okay, from the stage, but you can also have like a dashboard and then just drill down from there. Okay, so in this case, I'm showing you like a custom dashboard for this integration, and then we are just jumping. So we're drilling down from the balance sheet, for example, and that's once you click drill down, it will open like the stage grid with your data. Okay, so this is just basically what I'm showing you is a different starting point. But at the end, when you drill down, you get same look and feel than the one I showed you before. Okay, and you can again continue with your drill. Cool. So this is what I wanted to show you about SAP integration in OneStream. I also took the opportunity to show you different benefits and capabilities of OneStream integration engine, which is called engine, a stage engine. And I hope you found this useful. I will repeat for the audience and I will try to answer. Okay, so they're saying also that if you want to, you can raise your hand and then, okay, there's a question here, 1 second. Okay, so the question is, what is the normal time to set up a connection? In Lumi time. Okay, so I mean, when you do like set up a connection, if you are talking about connecting to or reaching the SAP system, okay, that's like, I mean, technically in OneStream is like an easy process, okay, but of course it's more like work on the SAP side or the network side to open the VPN if it's like cloud, or but it's not like a time-consuming activity. This is set up a connection, okay, the connection. But if you are talking about setting up like the connector, and when I say like the connector, is more like the business rule. The business rule, then timing depends on the different requirements. Okay, so maybe like the requirement to extract data can be simple, or the data extract is a little bit more complex. Okay, but if we are talking about the technical connection, that's not. I mean, it's just you can easily do that in 1 day. Okay, so there is another question. 1 second, and try to take the first one. Okay, so the question is hello Francisco, thanks for this demo. This integration is only possible if the people who manage SAP give OneStream access to their tables. Um, well, I mean, if you it's not like to give access to the table. Of course, if you are going to do like an integration with HANA database through the relational database layer, of course, the user that you're going to set up in the connection for HANA, it needs access, read access to that table, okay, or to that view. If you are going to use the connector, the user is like an SAP user, and and at the end, that SAP user needs it needs access to the transaction you wanna execute or other RFC. They need some permissions, of course. Okay. But that should be transparent for the OneStream side. Okay. Okay. The next question says, okay, hi, could you please provide a quick summary regarding the mappings creation and maintenance? Okay, so quick summary. The mappings are basically the rules that you create to convert your source data into the target model. There are different types of conversions, so you can create like explicit mappings or like one-to-one mappings. Also, you have like conditional mappings. You have like mappings. There are also like multi-dimensional mappings. You can add like scripting to your mapping. So there are a lot of flexibility. And then maintenance, it depends on how you define your mapping logic. Okay, so you define mappings per dimension, and you will have some static dimensions. Like, I don't know, like for example, accounts. So you are not adding accounts and accounts every day. Maybe your cost center is more dynamic, so the maintenance will be focused on that. You can import mappings from external systems if you want. You can import mapping from files. So that's basically like the goal of mapping functionality. Another question is talking about SAP S/4HANA. Does the same integration principles apply here? Yeah, so for SAP S/4HANA, if you, again, the two main approaches for SAP for HANA were the ones I was showing there. One is like extracting data through the application layer, and for that it's just similar approach. The only difference is that you don't use the connector, so you just create your connector rule to get data from the relational HANA, sorry, from the in-memory HANA database, but the approach, let's say the high-level approach is the same. Okay, and the other approach for S/4HANA is if the data you need cannot be defined in a like regular view. When I say like a regular view, is like a, let's say like a column-based view. Then you have also an option to define core data services view, which is like some kind of an enriched views, more advanced. And then for that, typically what you do is you either consume the view with a web service, but you can also call an RFC to extract data from a CDS view. Okay, but the high level process is the same. There is another solution. Okay, which is the scripting language? Is Visual Basic .NET. Okay, that's like the scripting language for not only for integration, but for any other engine in OneStream. Will the slides be available after the presentation? I think so, but you need to send an email to us, and then I can confirm. But I think so. If not, just you can reach me if you have any question. More questions? Okay. Okay. Okay, so the question regarding the mappings, because the way they are presenting here is a bit confusing, is can you provide a quick summary regarding the mappings compared to FDM-EE? Okay, so in comparison to FDM-EE, the mapping functionality is pretty much the same. The names are different of the mapping rules, but are basically the same functionality with some differences, but the core functionality is the same. Okay, so any other questions? Okay, I don't see more questions so far. So another questions. Okay, so we have Amit is asking how much volume of data can this handle? I mean, volume of data in OneStream is not a problem. So you can handle like big volumes of data. It's just like sometimes um, customers, or I mean the solutions owner, they want to extract like big volume of data, but not because they are going to use that data in their models, and just because they want to see the details when they import or they extract data. And the good thing is that because of this embedded drill back functionality, you don't need that data if you don't want to. Okay, because you can just, if you're extracting data from a table, let's say a SAP table or relational database table, you can just drill back to that table without leaving OneStream, and that reduces the volume of data. But as I said, the volume of data within OneStream is not a problem. But if you, for example, are going to extract data using web service, okay, you may have to consider the volume of data, because that's data you're going to transfer through HTTPS, and then you need to take that into account. But there are no limitations on the data. OneStream is very powerful in terms of processing big volumes of data. Okay, any other question? I think I went through all the questions in the list. If you have any other question, or you want to have like a offline discussion about any related topic, feel free to send me an email. You have my email there. Okay, there's another question here. Okay, so I think like the question is like, I don't get the question. It says like for the source, Bassem is just asking for the source data access. I don't know if you refer like compared to FDME, or it's just like OneStream related. Okay. Yeah, so as I said, like I mean, I don't like comparing. This is not like to say which product is the best one, because it depends on your solution. And I work with the two products, so I need to be. But I want to be. I want to be transparent with everyone. For source data, if we talk about like on-prem, you won't find too many differences, because at the end you have also scripting capability to get data from any source. But I have to say that in OneStream, as I said, in the cloud, you have the same functionality. So you also have a scripting capability. So you can get data from the source, which if you are familiar with the other product in the cloud, that's not the case yet. Okay, so that's like what I have to say about that. Okay, so we are running out of time. Again, thanks very much for attending this webinar. Hopefully, we will be delivering new webinars soon. And as I said, if you have any questions or want to have like a offline discussion, feel free to send me an email, and I'll try to help you as much as I can. So thanks very much. and enjoy the rest of the day.